Did anyone think the 80s and 90s work vans would now be so cool and so collectible? Go for it! Never mind one which has got a 1.9 VW PD engine with 170 horsepower. Let's have a look at this Mark 3.5 Escort van.
Not far from Bentley.
Yeah. So where does this begin then?
This actually started, I seen a yellow Mark 3 Escort van on Google. It was yellow with the 16i splitter and the big steels, and I thought, that just looks bang on. I thought I need to build a van. So I actually seen a Mark 4 Escort van, all stripped out, bare shell. Someone had put like rear arches on it and they'd put new Mark 4 wings on it and bonnet and whatnot. And I decided to buy it, took the front end off it, changed it to Mark 3.
So it started as a Mark 4?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Some people will probably notice the difference. There's a slight difference on the inner wing by the washer bottle. Like the real anoraks will know that it's...
They'll spot it.
But I've tried to go and do the dashboard and the door handles.
So when you
mirrors.
got this, was it just like kind of like a bare shell with obviously the repairs and the arches and stuff?
Just a rolling shell.
I'm 80s 90s kid.
Yeah.
So I remember the old school 80s 90s vans.
Yeah.
Year 2000s.
97.
97.
Yeah.
So you're late 90s being born.
Yeah.
Why'd you go that theme?
I don't know. I painted it yellow and it looked a bit naked on the back, and I was thinking, what can I have on the back of it? I think I don't have a business as such or anything like that to advertise. And I thought, oh, let's stick A on the side. It's like period correct, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it suits
the amount
it.
of people that give you a nod and like, well, you know, there's an old AA van there. It was either that or Telecom, something like that. But I think most of the
That was the thing
vans
for when obviously I was researching coming up. Telecom had yellow vans with Telecom on.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, definitely suits it. For me, where does this begin under here? What's the process and the thought of the engine swap?
And I wanted to do something different, so obviously everyone just goes Z-Tech conversion, and this was meant to be a daily, so I was thinking, what can I put in it that's reliable, good on fuel? And I thought, see on like the Mark II Golf pages and stuff, they're all doing PD conversions. I thought, the bits are out there, people can do the looms and stuff. I thought, let's have a go.
So what was was it difficult? What was the challenging part about it?
I wouldn't say it's difficult. Well, to be fair, a lad at work had a Fabia. One lunchtime I went out there with a tape measure, measured from the end of the crank pulley to the end of the gearbox, whatever length, come home, and I was like, there's loads of room, that's going in there. So the only real obstacle to overcome is fabricating the engine mounts, getting the drive shaft angles right. The rest of it from there is just wiring and intercooler work and stuff like that, isn't it?
Awesome stuff. Did it actually stay a daily? Or did it become too clean you didn't?
I don't know, I've been using it daily, but
wow,
it has got a little bit, it did get a little bit too far, to be fair.
So what's been done to the engine? Is it just a stock PD?
So it's a stock PD130, like dark side intercooler, like EGR delete, stuff like that, but still standard turbo and injectors.
Okay, so still like the 130 horsepower mark?
I think it's a little bit more. It's got like a generic map on it, stage 1. I think it should be about 170, I'm not sure what torque.
Wow.
It's definitely, wow. I think it's the right amount of power for the weight of it.
No, listen, it's stunning, this thing. And like I say, that under there, I can totally agree with you with the reliability, because you know how reliable these things are. So what's the future plans with this? What's the goals?
It's kind of finished, I suppose. Maybe switch the wheels or something like that. The interior wants a little bit of a smarten up. I don't know, maybe a turbo, something like that. Okay. We shall see. You
was saying about possibly selling this thing and moving on to your other project, your Mark III. Is that still?
I think if someone offered me the right money, I would let it go, yeah.
And then go into that money pit.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little bit boring in that respect. I prefer to build them than drive them, do you know what I mean?
A man of my own art, that's like,
for me. It's done, I would say it's 90% done, but it wants like smartening up in places, but I'm not interested in that 10%. I want to get like deep into something else now.
I like doing the hard challenging part.
Yeah.
So it's like 90%, like you say, 90%. Yeah. Right, I've done that, stick to one side and I'll move on to something else.
Yeah, exactly.
That's 100% me. That's why I have so many unfinished projects around me.
Yeah.
We're all the same, mate, we're all the same. What year is it?
So it's actually in 1990. And I've
because it's Mark IV.
Yeah. And I've put a private plate on it, so it looks like a 1983 Mark III van.
Yes.
So obviously A to B 1983, and then UX is actually cars that are registered in this area. So I thought it's a bit of a...
I see, yeah, it's a nice nod to the area.
So if anyone was to know, they'd be like, oh bloody hell, that van's never left Shrewsbury, Shropshire or whatever.
Listen, and that's the little touches that
Yeah, it's a little touch.
Makes the little touches
Yeah.
that make it fantastic, mate. Because again, as I've seen pictures of it from a distance, you'd never know there were carbon bumpers all round, and you wouldn't notice the little touches. And 90% of people wouldn't know they're banded steels. They'd just think, oh, it's got the steel rims on. They just think it's a restored AA van.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it. And for me, that's when I said to you when I pulled up, people ask, how do I find these cars and why do I go and see them? It's just when you look at it, you just go, yeah, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
You've done a really, really class job. And it's nice your age, mate. Your age is a big one for me. That your dad's imprinted on you and you're still keeping these alive. So you were saying about the electronic throttle pedal.
Yeah.
So do you have to blip it every time you pull off? Or is it just when you first finish the start?
Just when you first turn it on.
Okay.
I don't know what that might be, whether it's just the drop in voltage or something.
No idea.
I don't know.
No idea. Or maybe there's a reference on the flap or something on the ECU needs to have a reference to when you started up. Who knows?
It's just something I've never got to the bottom of. But
some of the quirks of conversions, pal.
Yeah. Some things I suppose you never get to the bottom of, do you?
No. And also I think as builders, if it works, it works. Just forget about it, move on to the next job. I've got to admit, that back door wedge, it's a lot quieter.
Comes standard, that does. Buy it off Ford.
Off a bungee cord and a piece of foam.
Yeah, what's that for?
So well, that's to wedge your back doors up, mate. The character of the cars, isn't it, that?
Yeah.
The little bits you've got to do to shut them up. No one ever thought these cars would have lasted this long.
No.
That's why it's nice when you see people like yourselves, the younger generation, modifying them, doing their own touches on them.
Yeah, there can't be many, to be fair.
No. Not young lads anyway.
Nah, like my generation nowadays are just into buying parts off the shelf, aren't they? And,
Stage 1?
Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3.
Yeah. And like I say, for me, I know that in the comments, there's never no hate about that. It's a different generation.
Yeah.
But for me, it's back in, well, you said it, back in my day, you would put up to a car show, every car would be an individual.
Yeah.
Not a sea of, as horrible as it sounds, 50 orange ST Focuses.
Yeah.
20 blue Fiestas.
Yeah. All with the same parts on it.
Yeah.
Whereas you open the bonnet of some of this era, it's either been custom made, someone's made it themselves, everyone's got their own sort of take on, which makes each car individual and unique, doesn't it?
Yeah. And that's why I like that's why I like doing this YouTube and finding these cars. It's keeping that uniqueness about. It's just enough, innit? It's just right for a commuter to pull away and have a bit of speed about it.
Yeah. It's not messy, it's not like messy power, and it's not slow either. It's got a bit of power there, makes the right noises.
And it looks smart.
Yeah, it's just semi-slick tyres and the wet isn't amazing.
Adventure in its own.
Yeah.
So what does your dad think of it?
Oh, he loves it.
Does it?
Yeah. Obviously, we used to buy cars like this back from auction. You'd be able to buy them from an auction, just drive them home, and you wouldn't get stopped by anyone by a copper, or they'd just be like, all right, mate, yeah, sound. But obviously, those days are gone.
It's nice that he's rubbed off on you, and this is why this has all happened.
Oh, it's like some sort of drug addiction, isn't it? You can't get away from it, man.
No. And once you build one, then there's always another one, and another one.
Yeah. I don't know, it'd be cool if you could get cruise control and whatever on it. I suppose the ECU's there, isn't it?
Yeah, I bet you could, yeah.
And you got e-throttle and whatnot.
Yeah, I bet you could,
so I don't know what that would take to get that to work.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Everything's there to do it. But PDs do have the option for cruise control.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you had that sound deadened in the back and carpeted, it'd probably be a bit of a bit more of a cruiser, yeah. Not far from Bentley.
Yeah. And that's what, again, it's the fact of you can do all these little tweaks, the cruise control and that, on the old classics, because no one ever had a Mark III Escort van with cruise control.
No.
Unless one of the last videos was, I don't know if you saw it, the Sierra with the 8-speed BMW transmission automatic.
Oh yeah, that K21.
Yes, and that was, as much as people slag the automatics off, it was fantastic on the fact of bringing the modern technology to the old school car.
Yeah.
Drove along perfectly, you didn't have to change gear, but, you know, it handled the power. You could have paddle shift if you wanted. And this is, like I say, a prime example. You've got the setup under the bonnet, which you can develop to the cruise control and have your miles per gallon and all the little nice things.
Yeah, definitely. That Sierra had pretty much best of all worlds, isn't it? Modern interior, automatic box, reliable engine.
Yeah, I think the purists go too mad sometimes. What do the purists feel about this?
I don't know, you get mixed opinions on it. Some people say it's cool and different, and then there's people that are like, oh, that shouldn't be in there, that's not a Ford engine, blah, blah, blah. Or even if I say, oh, they had the engine in a Ford Galaxy, they're like, oh, the Ford Galaxy isn't a Ford car, it's basically a Volkswagen Charan, blah, 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 but whatever, it's my own car, innit?
Yeah, you can't please everyone, mate.
You've built it to your own taste, haven't you?
Correct.
You've not built it for everyone else.
And what I have found is you'll never please everyone.
No, again, it's just doing something different, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not a bad little project for anyone else that wanted to take it on.
Yeah.
There's not a great deal involved in it.
I think once you can find an engine package that you can remove the immobiliser and you can make the wiring easy, because that's the thing that makes everyone a bit scared.
Yeah.
Is wiring. Once you can get around that, they become more and more popular.
But there's people out there to do that for you. Like, there's a popular conversion of the Mark 1 and 2 Golfs.
Yeah.
So yeah, once you've got that part, it's just the fabrication side, isn't it?
Which I think, as a home hobbyist, a lot of people can do that.
Yeah. Like you say, you can buy yourself a cheap welder and have a go yourself. And keep practicing until you're happy, can't you?
Correct.
There's no rush.
That's the thing I always see is the wiring scares everyone.
Yeah.
When they see a rat's nest of wires, they don't know, their head falls off.
Even still, like standalone management now, that's...
Yeah, you can buy with a pre-wired loom nowadays, just put your ends on.
Yeah. Get base maps and stuff, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
And get it to a state where you can drive it to the mappers or whatever,
Or
can't you?
on and off a trailer.
Yeah.
I just wish it was more of a popular thing to do rather than buy it and tune it and, well, buy it in stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, bolt-on bits.
Yeah.
I can understand it. Not everyone's got the skills and the money to do it, but I like the build not bought era far more.
I mean, definitely there's more fun in that than ordering a part off eBay and then bolting it on.
For me, it's what do people do at night time, because I'm researching parts.
Yeah, I'm looking at different things I can cut up or something or whatever.
So when I'm trawling the internet trying to find these cars to feature, I always go with my heart, and especially with this one. So I saw the picture and it took me back to the 80s and 90s where they had these works vans with, like I say, the AA down the side. We had British Telecom, which was the yellow vans. We had the British Gas, which was the white and the blue old vans, even down to the Network Rail ones, which I think were cream and brown. It just takes you back to that nostalgia era of the 80s and 90s. So when I saw this, I thought, yes, I like that a lot. Never mind what was lurking under the bonnet. So this is where the magic is for me. This channel is not all about massive horsepower and all this. Sometimes it can be just reliability and just being different. And this is kind of a bit of both. So this is the 1.9 diesel PD engine. The PDs came in multiple vehicles on the VW range, and I'm even being told they actually fitted in the Charan and Ford Galaxy. The PDs came in various iterations of PD90, I think 110, 130, 150, basically going on different horsepower ranges. And this was around the 170 horsepower with technically a generic map. The PD stands for, from what I can research, I think it's pronounced Pumpadouce, which is basically pump injector. The injectors come with a giant spring on top. You have the low pressure fuel which comes into the injector, and the cam rotates on top of the injector, basically making the injector the high pressure pump. They can go for 2 to 3 to 500,000 miles and have no issues. And that obviously is reflected on why you installed this engine. There's not a lot to show and not a lot to say if you're looking from a distance. But as with this van, it's all in the detail of the little touches. And it has these wonderful, again, matching the front, carbon corner pieces. From a distance, you would never notice, you'd never see, you would just think they were, you know, the original black corner sections. It has this 3-inch exhaust system, which is straight through with no silencers. With the PD engines, anyone who knows them, they're not a loud engine anyway when they are straight piped. We have this beautiful carbon fibre front bumper, which has the RS16i type style front splitter. When you're at a distance, you would never know it was carbon fibre, you would just think it was a factory black bumper. But again, that follows the full theme of the car of these little twists, like the bandy steels, little nods here and there that just have this beautiful little retro crisp look to it, and the bumper is definitely one of them things. Another little thing it had to have is the AA plaque. Now please put in the comments what the plaque was for, because I never did own one. We're kind of having a guess of maybe through service if you was a member for so many years, or was it sent out to members who just joined, did send these plaques out. But again, it was a big thing back in the day where you'd have an AA badge or an RAC badge, and the owner actually tells me on his other Escort that he actually has a letter with the car from the AA for time served or something like that, which is super interesting because you never get nothing these days. Because this car was obviously the Mark IV, it was later than the Mark III. So he got a private plate, which was the A-Reg, to bring it back down to the year of to suit the Mark III front end. But then also the UX at the end, which is a nod to the area code of where this van would have technically have been built and served, where the owner now lives. Just a nice little touches that people don't pick up on, but when you find the story, is really, really nice. Definitely not been used as a work van because it is not scratched. It has been super well looked after, super well maintained. So moving on to the interior, we have the RS Turbo seats, which are a common swap on the Mark IVs, Mark IIIs, because they bolt straight in. Door cards are super interesting for me because all the times I've been in RS Turbos and that type of vehicles, they do not have this intricate design on the door cards of this beautiful indentations. I actually thought they were aftermarket. Other little things to pick up on in here are the 2-knob head unit. None of this 2000s dolphin look. This is as old school as it gets. You have one knob for the volume and one knob to tune the radio in. And what has made me smile is the clicking sound on the volume to turn the radio on. Other little things to pick up on whilst we're sat in here is the gear selector. So underneath this centre console, the factory centre console, is the original VW matching gear selector to suit the engine. He's then welded an additional stick on and installed the 4-speed gear knob on top. A lot of the younger generation now will not understand the 4-speed gearbox, but again, back in the day, we did have 4-speed transmissions. Nowadays, it's all 8-speed automatics. Nothing wrong with the 4-speed gearbox. Other little things on the dashboard is the only thing that's been kind of modified, which I don't want to say doesn't look right, but is not period correct, is the speedo, because the speedo drive on the engine is electronic and these would have been a mechanical dash. So it's unable to get them to torque. There are some adapters out there, which I think the owner is going to look at in the future. Again, 3-spoke Ford steering wheel. It is just a super clean, super nice place to be in this Mark III 0.5 Escort van. So let's move on to the wheels and tyres. These are a Peugeot wheel, which I actually thought were banded, but they're not. They are a standard Peugeot wheel. Who would have thought standard steel rims would look so cool? It's the same as saying who would have thought the 80s, 90s work van would have looked so cool? But they are standard refurbished steel rims. So the brake package on the car, the front is Focus ST brakes, the rear is just standard drum brakes. The reason for that is there is no weight in the rear of the van, so it doesn't need giant brakes on the rear. The suspension is gas coilovers all round, and he's also had the rear axle flips, which again lowers the stance of this vehicle. So I think you'll all agree, this 80s, 90s homage to the old work van is a retro classic, and it looks stunning. Who would have thought it looking back 30 years that something which is technically a stock work van with a set of steel wheels would look so cool today. And this is the epitome of what my channel is. It's built, not bought, it's old school, and it ticks the nostalgia factor. Plus, he's got a cool engine swap. So I'll sign this video off. I hope you enjoyed that, guys, and I'll see you all on the next video.